Yeah, Chris, I mean, I have never really quite seen an environment where the premiums have come down as rapidly as they have with the holidays this year. You could argue around Thanksgiving when industry-wide things really started to slow down. You had the culmination of two things converging at the same time.
Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. And today we are digging back into the conditions in the physical silver market with my dear friend, Andy Schectman of Miles Franklin. Andy, it's great to see you in the middle of the holiday season here. And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and to all the other things that you and people in the audience may be celebrating. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, brother. It's always great to see you, Chris. Happy holidays and almost happy, healthy new year to you and yours and everyone out there. It's good to be here to put a bow on the end of what was a crazy, crazy 2022.
Yeah, certainly a volatile year it was in the silver market. And just to let people know, we've done a variety of different things with you on the show over the years, although something we've been talking about that I thought could be a good idea is doing something where it's a bit more focused, but we're going through the conditions so people can actually hear, what's happening with the premiums. Are they going up? Are they going down? Is there certain products where things have been unusual? Obviously, the last couple of months, there have been a lot of products that were unavailable. And so not necessarily going too long each week, but every Tuesday we'll have reports. So this way, for some of the things that people can't as well get information to in the silver market, we can have you cover. So for everyone watching at home, we'll be bringing that every Tuesday. And with all of that said, Andy, we've had quite a volatile last couple of months in terms of the premiums and availability. I know the premiums have been coming in a little bit recently, and people are wondering what's the situation there. Could you put that in perspective?
Yeah, Chris, I mean, I have never really quite seen an environment where the premiums have come down as rapidly as they have with the holidays this year. You could argue around Thanksgiving when industry-wide things really started to slow down. You had the culmination of two things converging at the same time. You had the holidays where for the first time in almost 3 years, people were able to travel and see loved ones and do things relatively normally without the restrictions that the pandemic put upon us. And then you also have, maybe even a little bit more relevant to the supply side, the 2023 allocations coming out, and they typically come out towards the end of November. So you have supply coming in, you have demand slowing down, and it created an environment where even with the price of gold and silver doing very well here recently in the last few months, since November, mid-November, premiums have come down to a level that puts them on par with the most affordable they've been since 2020. It's interesting. I mean, it's unexpected. It's interesting to say that this might be the best availability and the best premium that we've seen industry wide that I can remember since 2020. And it really came without much advance notice or warning whatsoever.
Yeah, it does seem like things drop quickly. And perhaps to put it in perspective, maybe we could look at the American Eagle as well as one of the lower premium products. Can you give us an idea of where they were at and where they're at now today so we can get a sense of the change there?
Well, the American Eagle really being the one sticky anomaly. It's the one item that has led the way since 2020. I mean, really, March 2020, the premiums went from $3 over retail to 13 or 14. They've hardly come back down. That one coin is kind of a poor example because although they've gotten a little better, the US Mint and the production of silver eagles has been truly the model of inefficiency. I don't know what the total numbers were. I'm going to guess 14, 15 million produced this year when they have the capacity of doing as much as 4 times that amount. But just about everything else has really come down. As an example, junk silver, pre-65 silver, which was selling at 12, $11 over the price of silver as recently as a few months ago, has been cut in half. When you look at kilo bars, 100-ounce bars, they were as high as $4 or $5. Now they're just over $2 and $3. Everything really has been cut in half. The one exception to all of this is the Silver Eagle, where you're still paying double-digit premiums. And even with the 2023 allocations coming in, what we've seen, strangely enough, is that 2023s are harder for me to get right now, even with the allocations. It's bang, they're gone, than the backdated coins. And, bottom line is you're still seeing double-digit premiums on the Silver Eagles, including the 2023s. Everything else from the Maple Leaf to the Britannia, the Krugerrand, Philharmonic, Kangaroo, silver bars in various sizes, and pre-65 silver have all come down to levels, I would say, roughly half of what they've been for the last 3 years. Not quite anywhere near where we were prior to 2019, but still the most affordable we've seen in 3 years, and the best availability. No delivery delays on much of this stuff, as the increased 2023 allocations coming in, and the slowdown in business has allowed companies like mine to kind of restock the shelves heading into the new year.
Yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to ask about, because in addition to the increased premiums, there were a lot of products where you had showed me one of the wholesaler sheets where it just said check back in November. This was back in October or September, or check back in 2023. Are most things now back available and they're able to get, or is there still some product delays in certain products?
Actually, I'm glad you asked that question, because looking at that same sheet, and I'll send it to you again, what you'll notice is there's availability, but almost every single item says limited. And so that availability, and I guess you could call it subjective. I mean, it's available, but what does that truly mean? I think it's kind of a sweet spot we've seen right here, because here again, we've seen virtually nothing in the way of secondary market acquisition. In other words, really no one is selling much of anything whatsoever. And yet the inventory sheets from the largest distributors in the world, while we can get the product, it's a caveat with limited. And Chris, supply and demand is the main driver of premiums. And you could notice, it's really interesting, like someone shut off the demand right around Thanksgiving, like industry wide. I mean, it's not just Miles Franklin. I talked to the suppliers, the distributors, and to other companies, and they're all saying the same thing. It just got really, really quiet in the month of November. And I don't know what the real reason is for that, because prices were rising. I attribute it really to the fact that people just are itching to get out and relax and spend time with family, and to sit on a beach, and just to kind of unwind in a world that seems to be spinning a little bit out of control. But look, all I can tell you is that today it's available, but my experience with these types of markets, especially one that really hasn't changed, and you could argue the fundamentals are getting stronger for silver, it could be a very short-lived phenomenon, or not. But when I have to replenish, I can tell you that the inventory sheets of the biggest distributors around all say limited. What that means, don't know yet, but I don't expect it to be a sea change going back to where we were when premiums were, under $3 on just about everything that was a sovereign issued coin, because we're still pretty close to double that right now across the board.
Okay, and perhaps last question for you today. Do you find that the waves of buying at this point, and I know this has changed over the years, but is there more people buying when the price goes down or when it actually starts rallying?
Actually, I think we get more demand when the price goes down. There is a whole subsection, I guess, of people who realize the inherent value, and realize that it's just more of the same nonsense with commercial banks controlling the price. That's kind of been the narrative over the last several years. The mainstream people, I think, are a little bit more inclined to jump on board when the price rises. And this is why so few people really ever succeed in investing, because their herd mentality allows them to only see the value in something as the price rises. But the people who have been following you for the last, half a dozen years understand the fundamentals and realize that when you see it pull back for no inherent reason whatsoever, betrayed by the massive drawdown in inventory from the COMEX, from the LME, even the Shanghai exchange, as Rob Keynes was talking about the other day, and the drawdowns from SLV. The people who are watching and paying attention understand that the biggest money in the world is using these drawdowns in price to draw down the physical supply. So I think the knowledgeable investor who's been following you and others in this industry certainly look to falling prices as an incentive to jump in. It's the people who are late to the party look at rising prices. It's what awakens them to, hey, maybe this is something I need to jump on. And I guess that pushes me to one other point, and that would simply be that that's the wrong reason. You don't want to buy this because prices are rising. You want to buy this because it's wealth and it's money. And when it goes on sale, it's a better time to buy it, not when it's going up. So I guess my answer to that is when it falls, we get much more demand from our entire database than when the price rises.
Well, certainly makes a lot of sense. And I wonder what it'll be like when we do see silver cross $30 again. It was interesting that couple of hours we had almost 2 years ago during Silver Squeeze weekend. You realize that's now 23 months ago. Feels like it was just yesterday, although we'll see what happens.
Did a good job of tamping the price down, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I know some people say they think that there might be silver supply that comes on the market once you go above 30, and I can see that to some degree, although gee, I wonder if that's when more mainstream participation hops in and you'd have both factors with perhaps, in my opinion, the mainstream participation outweighing that a little bit. Although we shall see in due time, and who knows, maybe 2023 will be the year that break above 30. And perhaps in wrapping up, is there any sweet spot if people are looking to add to their stack of any particular products that are on special and have a good rate over spot right now?
Yeah, just about everything. I know it's kind of crazy to say that, but I mean, we have really been we have been very conscious about keeping the inventory coming in best that we are able to do. And so not only have we purchased forward for the last several months, we gobbled up whatever we could into the new allocations. So whether you're talking about we have maple leafs on sale, at least we did last week, which we will carry forward through when this airs. We have kangaroos and Philharmonics. We have kilo bars and 100-ounce bars. We have 1-ounce rounds. This is stuff that has been really hard for us to get the entire year. I mean, it's night and day. The last month of this, last 4 weeks roughly, we have been able to have a better supply than I've had in 3 years. And at the best premiums. And it's interesting, we've talked about this before. We're selling a lot of this stuff. I know it's hard for people to understand this, but a lot of it we're actually selling at a loss because we had to buy stuff 8 and sometimes even more, like 10 weeks in advance and pay high premiums. Guarantee it, lock it in, pay for it, hedge it. And by the time we received it or started to receive it, because we purchased it in October and the end of September, the premiums have come down. So you're really getting an advantage right now of the lowest premiums we've seen in a very, very, very long time. And as people are only cognizant of what happens when premiums rise. Here's the other way. Here's the other side of the coin. You want to keep stuff coming in, you have to agree to pay for it and buy it in advance. Subsequently, the premiums have come down. Just about everything that we have right now would be the best premium that we've seen in 3 years, whether you want sovereign coins, 10-ounce kilo or 100-ounce bars, 1-ounce buffalo rounds. It is the best availability and the lowest premiums that we've seen. And look, I will just wrap things up by saying the price of silver has been controlled and kept down for way too long, and it's distorted the real supply demand fundamentals. And it's created a global supply shortage. Don't let this increase in temporary supply fool you, because this is just circumstance. At the end of the year, holidays, and the new allocations coming in from the distributors, it's a sweet spot. If you're looking to add some metal to your portfolio, I haven't seen a better time since 2020 to do so, both in premium and in availability. No delivery delays. That's something we haven't said in quite some time.
Well, there you go. I know people are upset a lot of the time when the premiums are high, and at least they're lower now. So, Andy, I appreciate you sharing that. If people have questions, they can find out more at Arcadia at milesfranklin.com, or if there is silver that you want to buy or sell. Actually, real quick, that's the last one. Have there been many sellers in the last couple of weeks?
Virtually none. I mean, literally, virtually none. Um, I don't think anyone who understands what's going on will sell their metal into any strength at all, because it only reinforces the reason they bought it to begin with. So no, really not whatsoever. We were able to secure a bunch of pre-65 silver, but look, we have relationships that span 30 years with about 85 coin companies, little coin shops from around the United States. We buy anything that they'll sell us. So yeah, some things have come back into stock that require secondary market selling, but by and large, no one sells to go back into dollars unless they are forced to do so, and represents probably 1 out of every 100 sales we do, if that.
All right. Well, appreciate that. And again, for questions, orders, or pricing sheet, Arcadia at milesfranklin.com. Andy, thanks for the weekly wrap up. We'll look forward to doing this each week, and especially with what we saw in 2022. If there's any preview of 2023, then be good to have this and at least have something nice and concise that people can stay up to date on what's going on. So appreciate you joining.
I'd be honored. I'd love to. And yeah, absolutely, Chris. And happy, healthy New Year to you, to Yara, everyone at Arcadia, and everyone out there. I wish everyone a very happy, healthy, prosperous, safe New Year, and look forward to picking up with you in 2023, my friend.
Well, you too. Happy New Year, and we will see you next week.